Don't compare yourself with other people. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday. Accept the terrible responsibility of life with eyes wide open. If you are a social scientist worth your salt, you never do a univariate analysis. Free speech is not just another value, it's the foundation of Western civilization. Men and women aren't the same, and they won't be the same. That doesn't mean that they can't be treated fairly. You should do what other people do, unless you have a very good reason not to. You have to listen very carefully and tell the truth if you are going to get a paranoid person to open up to you. It's in responsibility that most people find the meaning that sustains them through life. It's not in happiness. It's not in impulsive pleasure. I don't tell people you are okay the way that you are. That's not the right story. The right story is you are way less than you could be. Life is tragic. You are teeny and flawed and ignorant and weak, and everything else is huge, complex, and overwhelming. When you start to realize how much of what you have constructed of yourself is based on deception and lies, that is a horrifying realization. Life is very difficult. One of the most ancient of religious ideas that emerges everywhere, I would say, is that life is essentially suffering. If you are not going to be rewarded for your virtues, and instead you are going to be punished for them, then what's your motivation to continue? It's very difficult to regulate yourself, and if you learn to do that, well, it starts to spill over. I'm not going to be a mouthpiece for language that I detest. I am interested in what motivates individuals to participate in our conscious acts to support their ideological identification. No one gets away with anything, ever, so take responsibility for your own life. If you don't stand your ground, then all that happens is people push you backwards. It's very hard to find your own words, and you don't actually exist until you have your own words. The multiplication force of technology on cognitive differences is massive. People have this capacity within them to set the world straight. I am a practical person. I'm not too bad a carpenter. I can renovate houses. I'm always surprised when people respond positively to what I am saying, given its seriousness and strange nature. The literature associating inequality with social instability and poor health outcomes is pretty convincing. The right-wingers don't want to admit that some people, there are no jobs. They think that consciousness in and for itself will do the trick. In the West, we have been withdrawing from our tradition, religion, and even nation-centered cultures. If you learn a martial art, you learn to be dangerous, but simultaneously, you learn to control it. It's not proper for the government to intrude too thoroughly into the domain of the family. It's inappropriate. There's no doubt that inequality destabilizes societies. I think the social science evidence on that front is crystal clear.